This Pendle Council livestream will start in just a few minutes. You can view tonight's meeting agenda by visiting pendle.gov.uk/meetings, where the upcoming meeting notes are available to view. We will go live very soon.
Development and Management Committee. Does any member have any declaration of interest he or she wishes to tonight?
No, thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Will you please approve the minutes of the last meeting, which was on the 17th of September?
Moving, Chair.
Yeah, second.
Thank you. And on to the planning application, only one application, which is 24/0494/HHO, erection of a two-storey side extension and a single-storey rear extension at 2 Wharfdale Avenue, Riesler. Councillor Yasser.
Thank you, Chair. We obviously had a site visit today. Neil was there, you were there, Chair. I don't think anybody else attended. Since then, whilst we met on site, it was evident that there was enough parking space on the front side of the property when we actually saw it in person. I think Kieran might have something to say about Google Maps and some of the
I've been twice.
the lampposts.
Been
Oh,
twice
you've
today.
been,
Yeah,
okay. I was looking. I just overheard you talking
yeah.
about.
Yeah, no,
lampposts.
but I will.
So that's a relevant point, actually. I'm not being facetious. That's a relevant point because that's one of the things we did discuss. There is, even with a lamppost, ample space for the cars to access the property on through the house, and I think it's wide enough actually for even a large 4x4. It might not look that wide on the Google Maps, but actually the wall is probably going to get shortened probably by a metre, I think, because half of it is kind of demolished. And given that we've now seen it on site, O'Neill was happy, I think, once the amended plans have come in. I assume they have come in, which is why the updated report has been prepared for it to be recommended for approval. So I think that I voted in favour of it previously, the Bradfield Ridley and Nelson Area Committee rather, because I was familiar with the area and I thought that there was ample space for parking. There were issues around the area because you've got the Ridley family court literally opposite this man's house, and there are issues with parking around office hours. So I think I'd be happy to approve this. I'll hear what my colleagues have to say opposite, in particular Kieran, about what some of their concerns.
That's fair.
But yeah, so I would recommend for approval, Chair.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for waiting. I welcomed the revised drawing when I saw them today. I had been to the site this morning on my way to work. I couldn't make the official visit, if you will, and that was obviously before the latest iteration. And when I visited on not on Swaledale, on the Wharfdale, is it?
Wharfdale, yeah.
On Wharfdale, there were 3 cars. The lady was just leaving the third one from Swaledale. There were 3 cars parked where the proposed opening was to be on Wharfdale, and they were double parked alongside. I took a picture on my phone as well as a park that I'm thinking, well, this ain't going to work, because it was double parked all the way down, as LCC commented. And then when the revision came through this afternoon, I thought, well, that's loads better. And Councillor O'Connor, I said, oh, I'll pick you up and we'll go and see it this evening before we come here. We said that this morning. And I thought, well, that makes sense, because the opening is now on the bend, and that makes sense. I've just got a couple of questions though. I think the first one is, I guess, a friendly disagreement. We were just sat there 15 minutes ago. I don't think you can swing onto it with the lamppost in the way. I literally went forward and back numerous times, and I don't have the big car anymore, the 4x4, but I don't think I could do it in my estate now anymore, especially in the dark now, certainly not. So I do think that's a concern. And through you, Chair, just I guess a technical question. I've noticed in one of the original objections from County Neil, the letter dated 17th, and I'll just read it and I'll get to my point. What County said was, one second paragraph down, if you have it. I don't know if it's in the report, I've forgot my paperwork, but it says, Highway Authority's Code of Practice for Vehicle Crossing states that the parking space must be in alignment in relation to the highway to allow a vehicle to enter and exit the property in one movement. There must be no adjusting movements of a vehicle made on the highway when entering or exiting the property. Now, if the lamppost wasn't there, you could absolutely swing in going forward, even in my car, and it's quite long. It turns like a boat. But with the lamppost there, you definitely couldn't. So that's what we were just practicing then. And the fellow must have thought, what they're doing, he come on, didn't he? I should have introduced myself, but I just wanted to try and replicate it. With the lamppost in situ, you can't come up Swaledale and swing onto the driveway. So it's a technical question, and it's an interpretation, I guess, Neil. What is that saying? I think that's saying to me, you can't go forward and then reverse onto the driveway, which is what you'd have to do with the lamppost in situ. You certainly couldn't go forward off Swaledale onto the drive, but you could potentially go forward and then reverse on. I think that's saying that's that double movement adjustment, or am I interpreting it wrong?
I think I think it's also you go in and then have to realign yourself.
Yeah, yeah.
So both. So I hear what Councillor said with that, but I think that lamppost will have to go. In fact, I've no doubt that it will, because you can't have a lamppost in the middle of the driveway. It makes it. So without that, I agree. You can go in pretty straightforwardly round. You're coming round and then kind of back on yourself a little bit. So I think it will have to go.
So has the applicant got permission to do that as part of this process?
Again, he will need verge crossing consent, because he's creating an access, he's taking his wall down. We advised him of that today, so he will have to apply to the county, and they will have their stipulations around that.
Agreeing with most of what Yasser said, other than the access then, would the best course of action to be to delegate approval pending permission to move the lamppost then?
Yeah, check.
Yeah.
Just on that point, Neil's right, obviously we did discuss that, because that was I think it's a valid question that Kieran's asking, because it, obviously without the lamppost there, it's an easy one manoeuvre.
Yeah.
So the applicant was, I think Neil was then, he'd agree with me, the applicant wasn't resisting the lamppost being moved. And I think we kind of did suggest to him that it does need verge crossing consent. I'm assuming that's through county, Neil.
It is true.
Yeah. So so that's something that I don't think he resisted, and I think that's probably a sensible condition to place on it. I'm not sure if does that have to be conditioned within this planning application?
Sorry, I'm just making note of that, Joe. I think it's sensible to do that. Because we do, for example, require developers to remove obstructions, visibility lines in the highway. Although it is subject to a different regime, if that regime says that lamppost can stop, and this committee is of the view that it should go, and I think it should go, I think it makes sense, you can condition that. We can't rely on a third party to do something that we have no control over. We as a council need to control that through conditions, so we can simply add that to condition 3.
And the condition would just for
To say that the lamp, you shan't use the access until the lamppost is repositioned.
Are we then just playing devil's advocate? Are we not then in a position where if they don't ever move it, they complete the house, county's in, or there's no off-street parking, which is a requirement or a recommendation? Sorry.
Yeah, you will be saying that's unacceptable without, you can't have the development without parking, and you can't have the parking without the...
Yeah,
so
I think the two go hand in hand.
So the developers shouldn't go ahead and do more until they've got that sorted?
I think that's what I was intimating, that it should read. Progress shouldn't be made until permission and has been granted to move the lamppost and you've done it. Because then we're not too far down the road, because God forbid they complete the house, spend 100 grand on it, and the county saying, oh, you can't move the lamppost. That would be a massive shame. What would you do then?
Neil, how long do these things take, and what's the... So what if county come back and say we're not... Does that happen? Can they say we're not moving the lamppost from where it is?
If there's a planning permission in place, they will let them, that's my understanding, planning permission in place, so they'll reposition their infrastructure. How long it will take, I guess it's not going to be quick, but I'm just guessing, because I know there are delays with the county with those, but I can't give you an exact time scale, I'm afraid.
I mean, the thing with these things, I've had some experience of dealing with county, and we've got some county councillors there. They're not the quickest in these types of things.
No.
And I think one of the other things that we kind of mooted, I think, the applicant was there, by the way, was just as we were talking, that one of the other potentials was the access coming from the Wharfdale side of the property rather than the Swirldale side, and I think that was something to do with the depth, wasn't it, that we said actually it may not be possible. I'm not sure if they've submitted plans for access through Wharfdale, Neil, or is that just the access from there?
Just on the corner, Chairman.
I think the only, I mean, in principle, I'm not an issue with it. The only reservation I have really on that condition is that we are then at the mercy of effectively a third party. A third party which, in my view, is just very slow in dealing with these things and have a mind of their own sometimes. And, for example, I've disagreed with them on many occasions, and this committee and previous committees, on the views they take sometimes about highways, for example. This in particular now, it's no longer in the report about how the county council came to the view about parking, but they haven't really, in my view, taken into account the area properly, given that it is heavily utilised by the family courts, not only solicitors and barristers that use it, but by clients who, and it's a very, very busy court because it caters for people from basically east of Blackburn. Blackburn have their own, and it's a very, very busy court. I've never appeared there myself personally, but I know colleagues who come quite regularly. So that I do have some reservations, Chair, about putting that condition on, because that would, in my view, be unfair on the applicant. The other thing is Neil, is when we looked at the access, I agree that it might be there might be difficulty coming from up Swirldale and into Wharfdale, but then if he was to swing it around from Wharfdale, because there is an access from Wharfdale, and swing it around in one swing into the drive, because obviously it's on a corner, isn't it, and it's wide enough for the car to be swung around in one go into the property.
Chairman, I measured it. It was only striding it out, but it's broadly accurate. You need 5.5 metres, and I got it to 5, so you'd have to park in a wishbone. So you couldn't come up from the court and swing round, you just
Yeah.
wouldn't be able, you'd have to back in.
Yeah.
So I think that's not the best solution highway wise, because you've got to think you're backing out, you've got to think about children as well, small children on bikes and things. So you should be coming out straight. That's why, even if you're reversing out, at least if you're straight, you can see either way. That's why I think what they propose is probably the best,
Yeah.
safety wise. So, my view, Chairman, I understand, I probably sound a bit harsh, but I'm not bothered about the convenience of the applicant. We're about safety, and if it is for safety, then you condition it. They shouldn't have started, because they haven't got permission. You need to get all those things in place, and for me, it's proper planning. It's if that lamppost should go, condition that. It's up to the applicant then to deal with that.
If we don't put it, obviously at the moment, I'm sorry, not put the. Is this the one? So there's only four conditions. So obviously some of them are standard conditions. If we don't put that condition on, obviously he can still go and make this application to County Council for this what we call it, reverse crossing. If we don't condition it, he can obviously still go and get, or can County Council still insist independently and say, look, this needs to be done?
As I understand it, yes. If he needs version, they will put stipulations on there.
So if we approve the application or the recommendation for approval as it is and not put the extra condition on, County Council, if they so wish, can say, look, well, actually we want this doing separately. Is that how it works? Or potentially how it could work?
They could do, but then you're not. If you think it should be moved, you're relying on the whim of a third party. I think they will actually. I think the sensible thing they'll require it to be moved, but you can't guarantee that.
Can I just bring something else to the scenario? I'm just looking at this lamppost. You know, if you go on to number 4 or number 6 Wharfdale Avenue, there's a lamppost right next to both drives from number 4 and number 6, which is literally inches apart from the driveway. So if this particular lamppost was to go in to Wharfdale Avenue and it was a few inches or even a yard away, it won't really make a significant difference. And I don't think the lamppost has been an issue up until tonight. And obviously, looking at the way the road is designed, I think it's an ideal location for the lamppost to be there, because when a car comes out, even if it's night, at least it's very clear and visible that there is a vehicle coming out.
Chairman, it's not been raised because we've not had an access, so that's probably why it hasn't been raised. But if I can say, I don't want committee to say this wrong, but I've never known an access with a lamppost in the middle of this.
Well, it won't be in the middle of it.
Well, you're talking about different manoeuvres to get round it and go in. It's just, it's in planning terms. It's a oddity.
Sorry, Neil. Just a quick question again. So the driveway will be open from the pedestrian gate all the way around.
Yeah.
So that pedestrian gate, you know, I'm just looking at the way we could work around the client as well. Because if you kept the pedestrian gate and had his driveway just past the lamppost, it'd resolve the problem.
You wouldn't be able to swing
You
it.
will swing.
We just tried it. I ain't got the biggest car in the world anymore. And
I'm just, if
sorry.
if you don't move the lamppost, looking at this Google picture, if you moved it over to where the gate was, then that's ample.
Yeah.
And it's still illuminating the corner of the street as well. But if you didn't move it, I would assume you'd have to take at least another 2 to 3 metres of the wall at the front of the house.
Towards that side.
In order to compensate you, but then you'd do like an S shape to get onto the
Just
drive.
to get to that drive.
You see, and like Neil says, if you're backing out and you've got to do an S, you're not going to have vision. And God forbid, it's a child's court that's there, and there's children are playing during the day. Or
I shouldn't be doing it now.
Once again, Councillor Sutcliffe in there.
Thank you. I'm more than happy to condition the lamppost on this. I think it's the sensible thing to do because the verge crossing is going to need permission anyway. So it's as part of this planning permission, if it's approved, they will have to apply for the verge crossing. My understanding of that, there will be parameters that it has to be a certain width, it has to be a certain drop curb, and they will want the lamppost moving anyway. So I think the common sense thing to do is to highlight it in this anyway, and say, and set the stall out right from the beginning so the applicant knows exactly where they stand, because he will have to apply for that. They can't use the premises, as Neil's already pointed out. It will be contrary to the permission if they don't have that granted crossing for the parking. And I think it's just a sensible thing to do. It's annoying, and I understand. I appreciate that LCC processes are slow at times. But also, they've got building work to do, they've got permissions to grant for that crossing, so getting the same permission to move that lamppost a metre further away, I think it's just the sensible thing. Do the right job, do it properly, condition it, and approve that.
Yeah, the applicant wasn't here. I think I heard a speaker might be coming, but I guess it's a personal thought. I think that if the pedestrian gate wasn't there, and that's where the opening to the drive started, they would have ample room to get on and off, and the lamppost should be the other side of the gate. I'm sorry, I'm looking at Google Maps here. The lamppost would be better situated, probably 6 foot to the left as it is on the other side of the pedestrian gate, and don't have the pedestrian gate, just have it a big opening to your driveway. You get anything on there then. I think it's wise to condition it because it's obviously an issue, it's a safety issue. We'll literally just try. I know it's in the dark, but Richard hasn't seen it before, and it's changed from this morning. And there was not a cat and mouse chance about going up Swaledale and reversing into the area. Could I have got my car on there with that lamppost there? But they've got a row of bins there. I don't know if they were there this morning. But they've got a row of bins on the opening to the drive, and I couldn't have swung in at all off Swaledale without doing maybe a 3-point turn. So it needs to move. Like I said, it's much improved from the first 2 iterations that have been and on the portal. I'm really looking at see if we can get unanimous consent, but I have not moved anything yet. But I think I'll move the delegated approval pending an extra condition for the lamppost to be shoved, to be moved, however you would like to phrase it. I think it's really sensible, and the applicant gets what they want.
Yeah, I'll second that.
Chair, can I just check? Obviously, Kieran's been there with recently. In terms of coming back to obviously you went up Swaledale.
Did do, yeah.
Did you try access from if you're coming from Wharfdale?
This morning I did, yeah, and it was double park both sides.
Yeah, so you were saying, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think you could swing round and do like 180. Not in my car, you couldn't anyway.
Yeah.
Without doing maybe a 3-point turn.
Neil, on the Chair, on the plans, do they have to stipulate where they are have the preferred access from? Have they said in the plans? Is it from Swaledale? Is it Swaledale?
It's as we discussed on site today. So
yeah.
Have you seen the plans?
No, these ones. Yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah. Bottom left drawing.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah. But it doesn't say, does it, how they're proposing to access it? Is it from Swaledale or is it from Wharfdale? Is what I'm trying to get to. Do you think it could access if we were to come from Wharfdale and swing it back into that drive? Would that make a difference in planning terms?
I think you can only get to it from. Is it Wharfdale, the main drag past the? I don't think you'd be able to swing in there from any other, so you'd have to go in and out of it from Wharfdale.
Swaledale.
Swaledale.
From the main road.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Thank you.
I don't think you could spin it on a minute. On a dog cart. No.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I don't think you could come down Wharf. I couldn't have done it this morning and do a Ewer, even if there were no cars there.
The only reason that I say that, Chair, is because obviously it is a drop curb there. I'm not sure about part because I've not really travelled there in the mornings because it is a drop curb outside that property. So there might be double parked on Wharfdale, but where the access opens for this property, I'd be surprised if there are. I'm not sure where you were saying where. I don't know if you took any pictures when you were there.
I'll come and show you actually.
Yeah, can I?
Sure, in theory, it should create an extra parking space on street, because you shouldn't be parking on that corner anyway, and where the other access was, then they should be able to park there.
The car all the way down on the other side of Swaledale there.
Yeah.
You won't be able to like, do a 180 to get in front.
And there's a crossing point
So,
there.
it doesn't matter.
Sorry, through the chair. Neil, just a quick one with regards to this application again. So they access the parking from Swaledale, but I'd think common sense to have an access from Wharfdale.
That's Wharfdale. Swaledale is from Corn Road.
From Swaledale, yeah, they wouldn't be able to do it on Wharfdale, so I was getting my Dales mixed up.
But the driveway, would that be at the front of the house or the side of the house?
Yes, here. At the moment it's here.
Front.
That's wall's been demolished. So this wall is from here, demolished from here.
Yeah, you won't be able to swing round in Wharfdale,
Yeah, that's what.
and I suspect the lamppost might end up being there on the corner,
Yeah,
something
then
like that,
it is,
so I
yeah.
think that'll make this that a bit more difficult.
You wouldn't be able to, honestly, you couldn't come down Wharfdale.
Yeah, I understand.
Any other speakers?
So just for clarity, Chairman, sorry, the condition is before work commences to have this sorted,
So
essentially.
They've started, because you can see the bases, so it's no occupation of the extension before the drive and all that's put in place, which will include the lamppost being moved.
Okay.
is that okay?
Yeah.
So are you basically delegating grant consent or is it based on the Birds Crossing consent?
Sure, you just approve it with that condition, won't you? You don't have to delegate, you just
Oh, right,
approve
yeah.
that condition.
Right, let's do the vote for the amendment that was moved by Councillor McGladrey and seconded by Councillor Sutcliffe. All those for? That's fine, that's been approved. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
25 minutes.
Word sausage.